Well, hey everybody, it's HeapCVA. Welcome to my channel. Thanks so much for coming by. Hey, something I haven't ever done before, but I'm going to throw it up here and see what you guys think. Let me know. If it's terrible, I'll not do it again, I promise. But if it's something you're kind of interested in, I'd certainly love to get about doing some of this for my channel. One thing I really like out of my career as a firefighter, I loved old fire stations. I love fire apparatus, new and old. I love to watch and put my hands on them any chance I get, and watch fire apparatus go red lights and siren screaming down the street, getting to the next alarm. So I had some film shot in my phone that I wasn't sure what to do with. Kind of new to me and was not really sure how it was going to work. But this is footage from Charleston, South Carolina. And what you see right here is what was known as the Central Fire Station originally. It houses currently Engine 2 and Engine 3 and a battalion chief or district chief. I can't remember which. It's an awesome old firehouse. It was built, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going to look right here to keep myself out of trouble. It was built in 1886. It's a pretty old facility. I've seen it before when my kids were much younger. Pretty much looks the same. They take very good care of it. The way that everything is painted on here and what's called Charleston green trim with the red brick. And so while I was taking pictures of the building, thinking I'd never see a fire apparatus because I'd already been told that the guys run too many calls, you're going to have to catch them screaming on down the street if you really want to see something. But look and see what's happening when we went around the backside of the building and started talking to one of the firefighters there. Okay. Well, I got to tell you, not my best work and certainly wasn't moving very fast. Here you see the other side of the Central Fire Station, Station 2-3, and you can see the other doors. There's an old Mack parked there. Definitely either reserve or a parade engine. And there's actually an old fire apparatus to the right in the right door. That's where the district or battalion chief parks, who was not there at the time. I had to run from the backyard through there and out the front, and I didn't do such a good job. But it is a nice other view of the station. The station is basically shaped not quite like an L, but similar. And so that's the other side of that particular fire station. The next day, we had some time on our hands after a late breakfast and thought we'd check out some of the older fire stations that we could walk to in the downtown Charleston area. So in our walk, which took us up north, I think, I get turned around on directions a little bit. Our first stop was where Engine 6 responds out of. It's up on Cannon Street. And here we are looking at the first image is the side and seeing what is a very unique view for me is the watchtower, the old watchtower out in the backyard of the fire station. Those don't last very long anymore. They get torn down, they fall down. You rarely see those towers anymore. So that was pretty cool to see as we were walking across the street to get a good frontal view of Station 6 or Engine 6. I've heard and read a couple of different things about what number this station is. I'm going to call it Station 6 because that's where Engine 6 runs out. I believe there's a battalion chief that runs out of there. Nobody was in quarters, unfortunately, as kind of our luck was for the day. Nice looking fire station. It does not have Charleston green paint on the front. Their doors and trim are painted in red. So don't know if I heard that Charleston green was a regular occurrence or not. I do have some pictures of some other stations out of a web page that a lot of them are trimmed in the green. So you never know. But Station 6 still looks similar. It was built in 1887. Love these old fire stations. So as we hoofed it and got around the other side of the building, looked in the backyard, the station and the building next to it are pretty tight together. I wanted to see the back, and here's another really good picture of the fire watch tower with my my phone. It could have been worse. I'm learning how to use the phone correctly to take pictures and how not to use the camera. If you want to hold the phone upright, just like you would talking on the phone or doing a selfie, you're going to get a narrowed image. You need to roll your camera on its side, I'm finding out, to get a little more width to your photos. Learned a lesson, no big deal. So took that and figured we'd try one more station to see if we could catch anybody in quarters. So we came over here to where Ladder 4 and Engine 15 are quartered. This building was built in, what I'm thinking, 1943. Looks older than that. It's kind of a very industrial-looking fire station. Not much decoration on it. It's got quite a bit of history. If you're curious, check on the internet for what's known as Truck House, and there's quite a bit of stuff on there regarding this station. Both companies were out of quarters on incidents, so of course I missed them, so there's no response video to include on this. Unfortunately, I'm learning that the hard way. But there was an individual inside. He was driving the Suburban that's parked out front. He was on his way to a class, didn't have much time to talk to us, but said to try back later, which we didn't get a chance to do. So I took this picture here, and then as I was walking down the street, took it from another angle. It kind of darkens it up a little bit. I'd have loved to seen Ladder 4. It's a new Tillard aerial that they just got. It's a Pierce. It's beautiful. It's what I really like about it, and it's something I guess I don't see much here on the West Coast, is the aerial ladder itself is painted black. And man, it really sets it off on the unit itself. So, oh well, we still got a good look at an older fire station. Ending our little jaunt around town, I don't know how many miles we walked, but we were busy. We came across this way on the other end of town, and I started doing some reading on this. I had seen this years ago when the kids were little. And basically, without looking at my phone to use a map, I tried to find it again, and I'll be darned. I missed it by a block, realized that I kind of was turned around and walked through a parking lot, and there it was. This is known as German Fire Company. It was one of many old fire station ones. This building was built around 1850-51, was home to the German Fire Company. If we look at the next photo, I wish that car hadn't been in the way, but what are you going to do? You know, these streets are pretty narrow. You'll see the plaque above the left door, which says German Fire Company, and a date on it, which is tough to read. I've looked at the photo a couple of times. It sure looks to me like it says 18 something 1. The station became Station 1 in 1882. And weird that it didn't last very long. It didn't last through that century and into the 1900s, which is, I guess maybe is not too unusual in that part of the United States. And then here's the incorporation plaque on this side. Nice older fire station. I love to see the difference in the southern part of the eastern United States and the northern part of the eastern United States as far as old fire stations. You're not going to see the age of buildings like this on the West Coast. It doesn't exist. I mean, the state of California wasn't a state till 1849. So if you find anything older than that, there's 1 or 2 fire stations in Nevada City, California, that are pretty old. If I get that way, I may include photos of those in a photo shoot downstream. But there's not much in the way of old fire stations around here. I think Los Angeles has one original fire station, but I don't have a date for it. They're in the 1800s, but certainly not the age of some of the buildings that you might be able to find in New York or Boston or in any of the areas where, basically the original 13 colonies were put together. So that was the end of our tour. It's about all the fire stuff I got to look at. It wasn't a trip for me, so to speak. So that's it for this particular version of this. I would rather do apparatus responses instead of buildings, but I'll take just about anything I can get, and I'm going to sandwich them both into the same playlist. There are some awesome older fire buildings around. As I get good footage and images, I'll include them in this list. So with that being said, leave your comments. Questions, anything about this particular video, I'd really appreciate it. I'd like your input on whether this is a worthy endeavor for me to do for the channel, or if it's something I should leave for somebody else to do. I like this kind of thing. Like I said, I love old fire apparatus, old fire engines, and new fire engines, and old fire buildings, fire stations, headquarters buildings. New York City has some old alarm buildings that never had fire apparatus in them, were just places where the fire dispatchers were. This is the kind of stuff I love, the history of the fire service in the United States. If you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. That's what I used to teach the young guys when I was teaching classes. And so if you don't have any comments, that's okay. I understand that. If you could leave me a thumbs up if I did a good job, or a thumbs down if I did a terrible job. Let me know how I did on this particular video and where I need to improve. That being said, hope you're having a great day, great evening, wherever you are on the planet. Hopefully you got to do or getting to do anything and everything you wanted to do. You and I know we'll bump each other in another video downstream. And so you guys have a great weekend, or rest of your weekend, and have a great week coming up. Take care.